We are live on a Friday night. Why not? Turn on the camera, see who wants to chit chat about the Jets, about NFL football, or just about life in general. Why not? It's Friday night. There's nothing going on. The NFL Brasilia will be kicking off in about 2 hours or so. A ball game in Brazil between the Los Angeles Chargers, led by the often sanctioned Jim Harbaugh, and your Kansas Swifty Chiefs, led by Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. And that'll be kicking off around 8 p.m. tonight. But before that, we got nothing going on. So I said, why not turn on the camera, see what the hell's going on around here, and see if anybody wants to do any chit chat, such as Todd. Todd says, hello. Well, hello, Mr. Todd. Good to see you, sir. And hopefully, maybe a few more folks might show up on a Friday night. Why not? I mean, it's early enough. People are not yet going out, really. Todd says he cannot wait until Sunday. Well, Todd, I have to tell you, you're in the minority, my friend. My friend, you're in the minority. Jet fan enthusiasm is very low right now, especially after the AVT injury. We had low expectations, kind of like a wait and see attitude. All right, let's see what this team's all about. Aaron Glenn, Steve Wilkes, Tanner Engstrom, Justin Fields. Audio and picture is good. That's good. Thank you, Todd. But then we get the news all of a sudden out of nowhere. AVT, serious injury, out for the season. And so, you take a team, you take a fan base that was already downtrodden about the year, not very excited about the quarterback, about the team in general, and you take one of our best players and take him out of the season. So I think you're in the minority, Todd, but we'll see how things go on Sunday. We will be live streaming a watch along on this channel in particular. Frankie from Flatbush, FSPN, will be live on Sunday. We're going to do the normal coffee with Frankie from 10 until about 11:30 when they release the inactives. We should have some idea of what's going on tomorrow when they release the elevations from the practice squad, if any. And so we'll probably stay live in the morning till 11:30. We'll get the inactives, official inactives, announce those live on the air on FSPN, the Frankie Sports Programming Network. And then we'll cut it, and then we'll come back at 1 p.m., do a live stream while watching the game and keeping track on our drive charts. So that's kind of the plan for Sunday. We'll see what kind of an audience we get. We normally are on the Green Bean channel. We normally are on the Green Bean channel for any live stream gaming live streaming, watch-alongs, and so forth. But of course, Green Bean and Jed's Chaos and a bunch of other people will actually be at the game. And the problem with that is, of course, is going to be half the stadium filled with Steeler fans. And so I'm a little worried that old Chaos and Green Bean and Alan Dodds and anybody else heading out there with those folks might be getting into a little bit of fisticuffs. You know what I'm saying? Might be a little of this, little of that over here, a little of this. Somebody wants to start something, So, that could go sideways. That could go sideways. You never really know. And speaking of the stadium, a lot of these teams are putting out, information about all kinds of new food items that you can get at their stadiums. But not the Jets, doesn't seem like. Like, for instance, what if we take a look? What are the Bears doing over there at Soldier Field, for example? Well, let's take a look. Let's take a look. And they're telling us all about it. Look at this food you could get. For example, bear down, appetite up. Levy, this is a leading company that does food events. And this is a Barstool inspired thing. One of the big people over there at Barstool is a big Bears fan. So the steak, the cheese, we love cheesesteaks, they say. Pardon my cheesesteak. So they got a new cheesesteak that you can get. Here's a lady announcing it. And look at this. They let all of the season ticket holders in. Hey, get a sample of the new food items. Spread the word. We got new food items from old Chef Glasses over here. We got, here's the Staley. This is a Staley. I don't know. What's this? I don't know. It's a good little food item. Braden's here. Good to see Braden. Schematic fluidity, indeed. Let's see how schematic fluidity we are. But look at this little item that the Bears are putting together. What are the Jets putting together? Where's our food items? This is called the Staley. Of course, I believe the Chicago Bears were originally called the Chicago Staleys back in the day. Look at this little food item. Look at this, the original Mr. Beef. The original Mr. Beef on Orleans, making some food items here. I don't know what Mr. Beef is all about, but it's probably beef-oriented. I mean, look at this. Look at this here. This is some sort of sandwich. They got a sandwich going on. Where's our sandwiches? Why do we not have... Look at this sandwich. That's a nice little sandwich. Could have a nice little sandwicha. Cheesesteak. They partner with Barstool. Why not? Make it a little something. Get a little extra promotion for your food items. Pardon my cheesesteak. Hey. Good little cross promotion. Look at that. Traditional cheesesteaks from the sensation born out of two Barstool personalities and their love of steak and cheesy goodness. I mean, that's pretty good. Braden says maybe we would have a vegan dish. I mean, why? We're trying to be men here, Braden. We're not trying to be little girls. What are you talking about? Now, look at these items. How about Matt Suey's mom's peppers? A little game day peppers from Matt Suey's mom. Who knew that Matt Suey, not only does he play safety for the 85 Bears, okay, last and only time they won a Super Bowl. He was the running back, not the safety. I'm thinking of somebody else. Matt Suey, the other running back, the one who wasn't Walter Payton. Well, his mom makes apparently great peppers, packed in olive oil, it says. And you could get that onto your food items. Who wouldn't want Matt Suey's mom's peppers? This reminds me of Mangold with his barbecue sauce. Why can't Nick Mangold's barbecue sauce be sold inside the stadium? Don't you think people would want to get food items with Nick Mangold's barbecue sauce upon it? I believe so. Just like in Chicago, they want Matt Suey's mom's peppers on their dishes. It's brilliant. Look at that. Look at those peppers in there. Who wouldn't want to take a bite of that over there? Yeah. All right. Then we got Connie's Pizza. Who's Connie? I don't know, but she's a local staple and a partner of the Bears. Will feature their beef and sausage Sicilian style pizza topped with gardeniera, whatever that is. I mean, these are excellent food items. Who wouldn't want to have a local pizzeria in the stadium? That's pretty smart. You don't want just some pizza. You want Connie's pizza. You don't want just any old pizza. Anybody could do that. I could have pizza coming out of my microwave. We don't want that. What we want is Connie's pizza. That's what we want because that's a local staple there in Chicago. I never had it, but, hey. Or, sauce. Where's the sauce? What about sauce? Sauce Gardner has his own sauce. What about that? Can't we get that in our stadium? It's called sauce. Oh, can that be sold at MetLife? Look at this lady. She's very happy. It says brisket nachos. Who wouldn't want to have brisket nachos? And not only that, it's served in a half football helmet type thing. And apparently served by very happy people. Look at this smile. And, who wouldn't want to have a happy person serving you brisket nachos? Very nice. And it's inside of a helmet football thing. I mean, that's beautiful. Very nice presentation. Brisket nachos, a football-shaped dish. I mean, look at these things. Tostitos, tortilla chips, house smoked brisket. Whose house, they don't tell you. Avocado verde salsa, pico de gallo, crema, and fresh sliced jalapenos. This is what you need in your stadium. You need to stick this in your stadium. Todd says, we all know this. Todd, let's stay away from the chalk, shall we? Everybody knows about this. Everybody knows we want Aaron Rodgers to be sacked 20,000 times. Yeah, we all get it, Todd. This is obvious. Let's go beyond the obvious. Let's go a little deeper. Dino's here. Yes, Dino, let's do that. But we're talking about the food in the stadium right now. Trying not to talk about the obvious things. Yes, we want to stop the run, and we want to sack the quarterback, and we want to make Rodgers feel like a jerk, and da-da-da. Yeah, okay. But what about the brisket nachos? That's what we need. We need some brisket nachos. Like this here. Oh. How about some mac and cheese? Molly's mac and cheese. How about that? Molly's mac and cheese reflects the Bears' focus on implementing fan ideas and feedback. You think the MetLife gives a crap about fan ideas and feedback? The dish was inspired by a chance meeting between second-generation season ticket holder Kevin McDonough and Bears president and CEO Kevin Warren at a Chicago steakhouse. While talking with Warren about the game day fan experience at Soldier Field, McDonough told Warren about his 6-year-old daughter Molly's desire to always have mac and cheese available at concession stands at sporting events. I don't know what it is about children and mac and cheese, but all children, I think, love mac and cheese for some reason. From there, Molly's mac and cheese was born. So they took a fan idea and they created this right here. Molly's mac and cheese. I don't know what makes it different than any other kind of mac and cheese, but this one's called Molly's mac and cheese. And now Molly and everybody else gets that mac and cheese. And of course, most people like mac and cheese, but the kids really love it for some reason. And there you go. They're listening to their fans, giving them what they want. Do the Johnsons ever give us what we want? No. All we get is high-priced beer. You can get a beer at MetLife Stadium for $23 per cup. Hey, what are you going to do? Bring in your own beer? I don't think so. This says it's a delicious, creamy mac and cheese geared towards kids. The Molly's mac and cheese portable Portable will feature all things kids items, from bear cookies to a fun interactive kids box and more. So you can get yourself a bear cookie. Where's a jet cookie? Can I get me a jet cookie? Where's it at? I want to see it. Where's it at? Where are these items for the Jets? Why aren't the Jets doing innovative things for fans in terms of the food? And Levy is one of the big food vendors in hospitality transformation, or just hospitality in general. So I don't know why the Jets don't do this. I don't know why. I mean, it seems like a beautiful thing. You partner up with Levi's, I forget how you pronounce it, Levi's, and they go away and come up with all kinds of innovative ideas to make the offerings, appealing to your particular group, your particular constituents, customers. And this stuff looks really good. I get me a Staley. I give me I don't know what this lady's doing here, but I get me a cheesesteak, a Staley, get me some bear cookies, bear down, appetite up. So that's what's going on. That's what's going on, man. So I just don't know why, and a lot of the teams are doing this. A lot of the teams are also sending out their season ticket holder packages to season ticket holders where you actually get something. But apparently the Jets season ticket holders, you get nothing. You get a receipt that says thank you for your purchase. Hold the phone. Another Friday night hang with Frankie. Yeah, Joe Mike. I had to do it, man. There's not enough going on. We got to generate a little excitement for the season, because I don't think that the Jet fans are really very excited about this season. I don't know. You guys tell me if you feel different. Maybe it's because we're not signing so many of our stars, like you're seeing news. Zion McCollum signs, and this one and that one from the other teams are all getting, signed for their, and maybe this AVT injury could lead to some contracts. Like, why can't we sign? Because we're not going to, if AVT had a good season this year, we were going to have to sign him to like $20 million contract long term, which would have been worth it for someone of his quality if he could stay healthy. Well, he can't stay healthy. So that money that we were probably budgeting can now go to other people. I mean, why can't we sign Quincy Williams and John Simpson and a couple other guys? Yeah, smash the like button. It's a random Friday night live. Never know when we're going to have a Friday night hang live. Depends on many different variables. But yeah, we'll see. Seth Castro. Do you think Malachi Moore will see the field in certain defensive packages? That's a good question, Seth Castro. My idea with Malachi Moore would be that he's the big nickel. So I could be wrong about this, but it seems to me he's probably the big nickel. So if we have a 3 safety set, he would be the third safety. This is when, so basically the position that you want to watch the most on the field on defense is the nickel position. When Michael Carter's on the field, it should be 11 personnel on the other side, and we think they're passing out of that. When Michael Carter's off the field and the third linebacker's on the field, I believe it's going to be Marcelino, McCrary Ball. So when he's on the field, that means the other team should be in 12 or 13 or maybe 21, maybe, and we think they're going to run the ball. Now, there are times when you're not sure. Maybe they've been running out of 11 a lot. So you need somebody who can, in case they pass it, can cover, but you also want a little bit more thump in case they run the ball. And in those cases, you might see Malachi Moore. Now, in the past seasons, that person has been Ashton Davis, and it has been other people. It hasn't been particularly effective, but that's generally what happens. So, now, that being said, I'm basing everything I'm saying off of what we've seen the past 4 years. We don't have any clue what Glenn and Wilkes are going to do yet. We haven't seen them field a team and field a defense, and they might do a whole bunch of crazy stuff. We don't know. So once we kind of get a feel for what they do, and of course, that's one of the values of doing the drive charts like I do. Once I start getting an idea of how they operate, I'll be able to tell you much more definitively. But for now, that's kind of the way he would get into the game, other than injury, of course. There's really no other way. Think about it. What other way can he get onto the field if he's not starting? Now, we haven't officially gotten anything out of Glenn. He might be the starting free safety for all we know. We don't know. So that could be that. But if he's on the bench, other than special teams, of course, he'll be on special teams. But other than that, then that's the only way he can get on the field. How else can he get on the field other than injury if he's not starting? I guess maybe, if Tony Adams keeps giving up bombs or something or keeps missing tackles or something and they want to pull him out of the game, they could put more in for that, something like that. But let's hope that doesn't happen. So that's the way I would think about Malachi Moore, at least as far as we know with what we know at this point in time. Some of the teams are still announcing their injury reports. If you are looking forward to seeing either Jake Bobo or Derek Young or Uchenna Nwosu for the Seahawks, well, you're going to have to wait at least another week for those gentlemen because they're all out. So the Seahawks, no Bobo for the Seahawks this weekend against the 49ers. And, of course, the big story with the 49ers is will Christian McCaffrey play? He tweaked his calf the other day, didn't practice today. So now there's worry that he might have to miss the game. And, of course, the Eagles, after the game, they lost a special teamer named Ben Van Sumeren. And immediately after that, they went out and signed Za'Darius Smith. So you wait around, and these guys disappear, and they go to other teams. So, we're going to have to make do with Tyler Barron, I guess. Joe Mike, Frankie, season ticket holders need to push back. Well, how are you going to push back, Joe? I'm trying to bring... The way you can push back is by talking about this. This is one of the reasons I'm bringing it up, Joe. How are you going to push back? You're not going to go, and then the stadium's empty? I mean, you need to. If you're a season ticket holder, Joe, then you need to go talk to whoever your representative is, whatever communication channel they give you, and I'll do my best in talking about it on the air. But how else are you going to push back? Not buy the stuff? I mean, they don't care. I would only offer ABT backup money. Yeah, that could be. I don't think it has anything to do with his arm length, but he. We could get him on a prove it deal. In which case, it doesn't. If he wants to do a prove it deal, that's fine. If he doesn't, that's also fine. We're going to have to. Now, what's going to happen is, as I explained in one of the videos I put out this week, we're going to find out about Joe Tippmann as a guard. Maybe Joe Tippmann is very good as a guard. Let's hope so. And then we say, okay, Tippmann's going to be the guard. Let's extend John Simpson. We don't have to give all this money to AVT, so let's give a little bit of money to John Simpson and give him maybe a 2-year deal, and let's extend Quincy and, kind of divvy up the money we thought we were going to have to pay to AVT for a big money deal, which he would have earned if he stayed healthy and played like he normally does. And then if AVT wants to take a prove it deal, that's fine, but then it doesn't alter our plans because, if he proves he's healthy and looking good in training camp, then okay, you slide Tippmann back to center. If not, then he becomes a backup, and then we draft a center, and we draft a guy in the 3rd round. The good thing about centers is you don't have to take him in the 1st round. second, third round, whatever it turns out to be. And then you get your young guys like that. And if AVT can help out, great. If he wants to try and get a big deal from somebody, which hard to believe anybody's going to give him a big deal, considering he's had 3 season-ending injuries out of 5 years. That's no bueno. So, yeah, I mean that's the silver lining of it is now we get to find out about Tippmann as a guard, and maybe Tippmann's good as a guard, and maybe better than him as a center, and then we just draft a center or sign a center, depends who's available, whatever it may be. But to me, I would then reallocate the funds that were going to go to AVT. I would extend Simpson. I would extend Quincy. I would look at, anybody else that maybe, like we may want to give Myers a deal now, like a small deal, for another year to kind of, give us some flexibility. It doesn't have to be a huge deal, but maybe it's enough guaranteed money that he's like, yeah, that's pretty good. I don't want to, maybe he doesn't want to try and go out into the open market again, and then you have that as the backup option as well. So we'll see. I think this is one of those things where now we're into what general managers get paid for. I mean, this is the hard part of Darren Muji's job now. How do I allocate the funds? Which players do I bet on? Because people always want to be proactive and they get upset and they say, whoever the general manager is, why isn't he ever proactive? We're never proactive. Well, this is the downside of being proactive. If we had been proactive with AVT and given him the deal already, a big deal, then he has this happen, and now you're losing all of that money in the future that you guaranteed him because he's injured and you wouldn't have had to pay him. And so this is the hard part about being a GM. And we'll see how Muji and AG deal with it. These are the first of many tough decisions that they're going to have to make going forward. So, as fans, we want to know how they're going to do with this decision making, and what unfolds over the next few months is going to be very instructive. So we'll find out about our GM. JoJo was a man. Tucson, Arizona. Yeah, the Kansas Swifty Chiefs are playing tonight, JoJo, at 8 p.m. They're playing in Brasilia. So we'll be cutting this off before that starts. Joe Mike, Zadarius Smith. Yep. Yeah. I mean, at this point, I don't know what's going on with these players. Why did Zadarius Smith wait until after the first game? Like, what benefit was that? I don't know. But he did, and now Clowney, these edge rushers, you would think they'd want to get started. Yeah, the problem with thinking that Malachi Moore is Brian Branch is that Brian Branch is fast and Moore is not. But hopefully he can be good. Fantasy team needs it. I'm not playing any fantasy this year. I am not really big on fantasy at all. Joe Mike says, I canceled my Yankees tickets. I told the rep I'm not interested until Boone is fired. Well, that's your prerogative. But, pretty sure I don't know what's going on with their tickets, but pretty sure somebody else is just going to snap them up. But again, I don't know what's going on with the Yankee tickets. But yeah, Boone. But what about Brian Cashman? Cashman's the one who puts together these teams where if they don't hit home runs, they can't score a run. Why is that on Aaron Boone? I don't think Boone's a good manager. Again, I'm not following it closely, but seems to me Boone is not a good manager. But also the roster construction is really poor. When you have a lineup where if they're hitting home runs, okay, they score lots of runs. But if they're not, then they can't score. They don't have any other way to score other than home runs. It's like that's not good roster construction. So what about Brian Cashman? The guy's been there for what, 1 million years? How many years has he been the general manager? Why does he get a lifetime contract? Every other general manager in the world basically fears for his job, and that probably motivates them to work a lot harder. And but Brian Cashman seems to have a freaking lifetime contract. He's been there a million billion years. Why is that? Tippmann stays at guard and we draft a center. Yeah, that's probably what happens. Yeah, I'll tell you a guy that I want that I've been thinking about. It's Juwan Jennings. Juwan Jennings, you could probably get for 15, 16. Well, it depends what his numbers look like this year. If he has an incredible year this year, then you're not going to get him for that. But if like if Christian McCaffrey doesn't play for the 49ers or is limited or not as good as he used to be, and their offense isn't as, high flying, and he doesn't have a spectacular year, you could probably, and that's a good receiver that blocks, that fits the mold of what AG wants, and he's going to want out of San Francisco. He's not going to want to come back there. And you could get him for a reasonable cost. That would be a guy to keep my eye on. But we got to first figure out what the heck's going on with the offense and with the quarterback and with Justin before we know what we need exactly. I mean, obviously, we're going to need offensive line. That's every team, but we'll have a lot more answers at the end of the season. Yeah, fantasy to me, it's just not. I mean, I've played many times over the years, and it's just not fun. You have no control over anything. Guys win and lose because some guy has an incredible game where he scores 4 touchdowns, and it's like that was a weird game where he's never going to score 4 touchdowns again ever. So it's just luck. It's just basically luck. It's very strange. And then it throws off your perception of what real football is. It's one of the many reasons people have gigantic hard-ons for wide receivers, because in fantasy they're that much more valuable. And in fantasy you're drafting all the great ones, and then you have a lineup where it's like all these wide receivers, and then you look at the Jets and it's like, wait, that doesn't look the same. And it's like, well, yeah, because that's not real football. So I don't know. I'm not a big fantasy guy. I've played a bunch of times. I used to play fantasy baseball. Tell me when we first see a long pass to Arian Smith. Well, when the defense lets us have one. The primary people who decide where the ball goes if you have a quarterback with his head screwed on straight is the defense. The defense dictates where the ball goes, because every defense has something they're giving you. They can't cover the whole field. So every defense gives you something, and it's your job to figure out what that is, identify it, and then hit it, basically. And so when they give us that, then hopefully we identify it and hit it. If they never give us that and they stay in too high shell the whole game, then he's not going to get one. But if they're in single high and we have the right personnel and the right, things going on, the quarterback has his head screwed on straight and we get good protection so he can get down the field and Justin throws it, then you could see it. Now, the good news is Justin does have very good arm strength and he can throw long very well. He doesn't do it that often, but when it's there, he'll take it and he can hit it. He does have good arm strength. He's not like Chris Streveler, who could barely throw it 5 yards. No, he has a very strong arm and can get it out there. So it all just depends on how the defense is defending us. And I can't tell you how that's going to be. The other thing about this game, too, is the Steelers, and I have a 3 keys video coming out tomorrow, so look for that. But the Steelers, and it doesn't really focus on the Steelers, it just really kind of focuses on the Jets, to be honest. But the Steelers also have a weird defense in terms of their backfield. They acquired Jalen Ramsey, of course. They have Joey Porter Jr. They also have Darius Slay. So those are three interesting corners in that two are old, one's young. None of them are really elite at the moment. Of course, Ramsey has been elite, but he's kind of fallen off these last few years. And it'll be interesting to see how they use the safeties. They don't have Minkah Fitzpatrick anymore. They traded him away to the Dolphins. So they have whoever they have at safety. It's not going to be as good as Minkah Fitzpatrick. And so it's not certain at all. I mean, their defensive line is pretty scary, of course, as always. When you have TJ Watt and Cam Hayward, that's pretty scary to start with, and Alex Highsmith, of course. But it's not clear that their second and third levels are good. They could be very good, but they haven't played any games together. They don't have any continuity together. So it'll be interesting to see what that looks like. It could be very good, and they could have a top defense in the league, and then it's like, oh boy, that's tough. Or it could be a complete mess. And it could also be a complete mess for like the first 3 or 4 games or something, and then they get their act together. So it's just we don't know. It's the first game of the season, and there's all these new players, and the Steelers were uncharacteristic this offseason and brought in a lot of veterans and made a lot of trades. They don't normally do that. Seemed like it was reeking of desperation a little bit. On the other hand, it could be that these players all do come together and look good. And but there's no way to know, especially in week 1. We'll know about the Steelers. We'll know what the Steelers have both ways, offense and defense, after the first month. But until then, and it could go either way. That offense could be terrible, or it could be just fine. They have a lot of tight ends, no real wide receivers other than DK. I mean, they're going to tell you about Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin. And maybe Roman Wilson's good. Nobody knows. He was hurt all last year. So that could work out great. And all these tight ends they have could work out great. Jonnu Smith is more like a wide receiver than a tight end. But or it could be a total disaster. So it's really hard to say when it's week 1 and we have no idea, and they didn't play at all in the preseason and, in terms of the starters and stuff. So, yeah, I wish I knew, Braden. I mean, it depends on what we're doing also. I mean, if they're in their too high shell and we can't, and we're just 3 and out, then they're not going to change, right? But if we're matriculating the ball down the field, as they say, and we're penetrating and we're scoring and we're touchdowning and all of this, then they'll change it up and say, okay, we got to move a safety down into the box. So you could say it depends on how the running game goes, our running game. If we're gouging them with the run and it's 8 yards, 10 yards, 15 yards, 6 yards, 10 yards, and we're gouging the hell out of them, then they're going to want to move a safety down into the box to help out. That's when you strike, right? So that's the way to think about it. If we're running the hell out of the ball, because they'll probably start in too high shell and just play regular, straight up defense and see how we do. Because, just looking at it, they're probably just like, well, let's see what they got. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they start stacking. I mean, it's possible that they go, you know what? I mean, if you listen to Coach Tomlin talk this week, which I did, he's talking about stopping the run because he knows we got a talented running back room and Justin. And so he's talking about stopping the run. He's talking about Aaron Glenn has already said he wants to run the hell out of the ball, etc. So he knows that. So maybe they start the game in single high. Maybe they're in cover 1 a lot, and they just bring one of their safeties down because they want to have a heavy box. Well, if that's the case, there's your opportunity right there. You don't even have to wait. So it just depends. If they're in cover 1, and they're bringing their safety down to stuff the run, or cover 3, something like that, then we can try to throw deep on that. You see where that safety goes, and whoever he tries to cover, wherever he's shading, you go to the other guy. He's probably going to be shading over to Garrett, and that'll leave it open for Arian or whoever's on the other side. Reynolds, you name it. So that's the way to do it. But it all just depends on what they're going to want to do. If I'm thinking about it, they probably will start in some sort of cover 3 or cover 1, something like that. Probably cover 3, if I'm honest. They'll probably just start with a nice cover 3 zone, and then, basically challenging Justin to hit the honey hole. Yeah, that's what I'd probably do. Then if he starts hitting that, then maybe you move into a cover 2, softer shell type deal. And then we got to hit him with the run game if that's the case. And then if they go back to cover 3 or cover 1, maybe then, you can go deep because they're going to have to shade the safety over to somebody, and that somebody's probably Garrett. So then that leaves Aaron or Josh, one-on-one, and then they got to just win down the field. So that's we'll see if they start the game with cover 3. That's probably what I would do, and just challenge the Jets. And then if we're gouging them in the run and they're in cover 3, they're in trouble, right? If they're in a run defense, generally speaking, and have a lot of people in the box, and we're still able to run, then we got something. Then we really got something. So, man, oh man. But, we just really don't know. There's just too many unknowns, but it'll be interesting to keep an eye on, and that's why we watch the games. There's so much going on. Inactives for the Chargers. R.J. Mickens, son of Ray Mickens, inactive. Tight end Tucker Fisk, whoever that is, inactive. Cornerback Nico Reed, inactive. Outside linebacker Kyle Kennard, inactive. Tackle Foster Sorrell, inactive. Tight end Oronde Gadsden, inactive. Defensive lineman Naquan Jones, inactive. So those are your inactives from the Chargers. For tonight's game in Brasilia, which will be starting at about 2000 hours on the East Coast. Just scrolling to see if there's any news we can use on this special edition of the Friday Night Hang. Subscribe to the channel. If you're watching and you're not subscribed, you should subscribe. It's fun, it's free, it's cool, it's awesome. And also give a like to the video. Why not? Doom. Oh, that means Mekhi Becton, who apparently had an illness, is active. So we'll see our old friend Mekhi on the field tonight, it looks like. Christian Gonzalez is out for the Patriots on Sunday, so that's a high-profile player on the Patriots. Out with injury. Braxton Berrios is out with injury for the Houston Texans, former Jet, of course. Isaiah Likely is out. Patrick Ricard is out. Tyler Bass, the Bills' kicker, is out. So it should be a very interesting week 1 in the NFL with one game in the books already, with the Eagles defeating the Cowboys 24-20 in a lightning interrupted game. So we had action on Thursday. We'll have action on Friday. And then, of course, all of the college games on Saturday. And how about Bill Belichick getting blown out? And his first game looking like a loser. Loser. But you never count out old Bill Belichick. He'll figure out a way to cheat and win, as we all know. News story, 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey didn't practice, but feels, quote-unquote, great, as he's listed as questionable for Sunday in Seattle. That's probably one of these guys. Christian McCaffrey one of these guys, if he's out, the 49ers just really aren't the same on offense. It's kind of like if Fred Warner's out or Nick Bosa, they have a hard time operating that way. And we don't know whether Cam Hayward's going to suit up. Jets X Factor has an article about this, and says Steelers risk ceding major edge to Jets as star hangs in balance. Now, I understand. My understanding is Hayward was going to play. This guy's a 16-year veteran. He's a monster, of course. As things stand, the New York Jets offense does not have many appealing options against a stacked Pittsburgh Steelers defense. Pittsburgh boasts a ferocious pass rush. New York will try to run the ball, but that is easier said than done against a defense that also allowed the fifth fewest yards per rush attempt last season. Yeah, but how'd they do against the pass? The Jets will have to solve that dilemma just days after losing perhaps their best, right? Speaking to the media on Friday, first-team All-Pro defensive tackle Cameron Hayward did not commit to playing in Sunday's season opener. There he is. Hayward has been seeking a new contract throughout the offseason, staging a brief hold-in during training camp. He eventually returned to camp, and he even practiced in full on Friday, but Hayward left open the possibility of sitting out on Sunday if he does not receive a contract. I am preparing. Still got some time, but we will see. Hayward would not provide a straight answer regarding whether he will sit out if he does not receive a new contract and play if he does. I wish I had a straight answer for you right now, Hayward said. Well, you could. I mean, you're the one answering the question, and you're the one that has to make this decision. All I can tell you is I've had to have a lot of tough conversations with my family, and I am bracing for everything. What the hell does that mean? Tough conversations with my family. What does the family have to do with it? The family's probably like, shut up and play. You're already making however much money he makes. It still feels likely that Hayward will suit up at MetLife Stadium, but until we see him in uniform, you can bet the Jets offensive coordinator Tanner Engstrand will pray each night for a massive gift from the football gods. If Hayward sits out, this suddenly becomes a completely different football game. His absence would not just represent the loss of a top-tier playmaker. It would shift the makeup of Pittsburgh's entire defense. Hayward-less Steelers defense is ripe for the picking in the run game. If he is absent for 4 quarters, Pittsburgh would become vulnerable to the exact game plan that New York wants to establish, grounding and pounding their way to plodding, clock-chewing drives that keep the ball protected, the defense rested, and the Steelers' spirits crushed. If Hayward is out there, the Jets will be stuck between a rock and a hard place. Pittsburgh stops the run at nearly league best level with him out there to have anything close and It kind of keeps going on and on and on. Saying the same thing over and over. That's true. He's a good player. If he's not out there, then we can do better. Mark Andrews' revenge game. I got Ravens by a lot. Oh, on Sunday night? I don't know. I mean, that's going to be a good game. That's two of the best teams. I don't know what Mark Andrews' revenge game, what that has to do with anything, but two of the best teams in the AFC. And so, it's the battle of the MVPs, Lamar and Josh. But the fact of the matter is the Kansas Swiftie Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter. The NFL is not going to throw away billions and billions of dollars in money for what? Competitive balance? No, they're going to take the money. Take the money and run. They're going to keep the Swifties in it until the very end. The Chiefs could lose the Super Bowl because, after all, there's no more games after that. So they might lose the Super Bowl, but they're going to the Super Bowl. They are going to the Super Bowl because there's just too much money in them continuing to do so. So it's too bad. It's really too bad for the Ravens. It's too bad for the Bills. It's too bad for, the Broncos and the Chargers and all these other people that think they can contend. Sorry. It's going to be the Chiefs. It's going to be the Kansas Swiftie Chiefs. That's what we got going on. Let's see if there's anything else going on. Let me know if there's anything else you want to talk about in the chat. Otherwise, we'll be wrapping it up here shortly. Got to get ready for the Brazil game, of course. Got to get ready for that Brazil game. Yeah, I don't even know. The Jets have not made a roster move with AVT for some reason. Now, why is that happening? That's something I don't understand. What are they now? Rich Cimini floated the idea of the Jets trying to make a trade for a guard. That would be very difficult to do at this point in time, and I don't think you're going to get someone that great. But I don't know why. Maybe Cimini's right, and we're going to swing some sort of a trade, and that's why we're waiting to put AVT on IR. Otherwise, I don't know why you just wouldn't put him on IR and then bring Hayes up to the 53 man. You could always waive him. Nobody claimed him the first time. But there's really no reason for AVT not to be on IR at this point in time. It's basically no chance he can come back this year. And so we're just kind of wasting a roster spot at this point in time. So there must be something happening, but we don't know what it is. And of course, the Jets are not leaking like they used to leak. So that's a good thing. But at the same time, it means, that we it means that we don't get any news. We don't find out what the heck's going on. We don't get any even speculation. So, I guess that'll do it for tonight. Thanks for joining, everybody. Enjoy the game tonight. Enjoy the college football tomorrow. We'll be back 10 a.m. on Sunday, Coffee with Frankie. And then we'll come back with a live stream watch along of the actual game. Steelers at Jets, game 1 of the 2025 NFL season. And I will see you next time.